immediately when the news came out that there was a leak at the Supreme Court and that it appeared that there was an opinion by Justice Alito that was making its rounds that would show that the court was going to set aside Roe v. Wade. Well, immediately, what did you have? You had protests. You had them outside the justices' homes. You had protests against church groups. You had protests against pro-life organizations, and the Concerned Women for America had their offices vandalized. So we want to talk a little bit about this issue today. And Penny Nance, who is the CEO of Concerned Women for America, is with us. Penny, welcome to Unmute It.
Well, thank you, Senator. It's an honor to be with you.
Penny, I know that your mission is to empower women with biblical values. That is a part of your mission statement, with constitutional principles and civic education about how to properly participate in our nation's government, our rule of laws, and being citizens that abide by the rule of law. Well, unfortunately, not everybody agrees with you on that mission. And it seems like that some people don't think they're doing their job unless they're carrying out tyranny against conservative women. You have seen it. I have seen it first.
That's right.
So talk to me about what happened at the CWA office, and talk to me about your staff. Are they safe?
Thank you. Thank you, Senator. You know, as a conservative woman, you know that I think there's this special kind of spite that's preserved by the left against conservative women. And I know you've caught it and we have. I mean, it's been, you know, it's just profoundly disgusting when you have a leftist that specifically goes after our innocent staff. Yes, vandalized our building, and to be graphic, urinated on our door, exposed himself on our security cameras. He's an activist that is very upset about the idea of the overturn of Roe and our position on women's sports and the unique dignity of women. And so we reported this to the local Alexandria police, and so far they have not, I have to be honest, worked very hard to pursue it. We have also reported this to the FBI as a hate crime and also notified the Virginia Attorney General. We will get to the bottom of it eventually. But it's not just us, right? The Wisconsin Right to Life group, their offices were firebombed. We've seen churches that have come under fire. You mentioned the justices have had people outside their homes trying to intimidate them. And so really, now we've gotten to the bottom of it. The crux of it is the opportunity, the effort to intimidate us, but it won't work. It doesn't matter what they do or what they say. We will not back down in speaking on behalf of life and the least of these. And yes, we've had armed guards at our offices. We will do whatever we need to do to keep our staff safe, but we will never buckle under to tyranny.
Penny, is your staff, I know you have staff members and supporters that live across the country. Are they safe?
Well, you know, I guess that really is up to local law enforcement to make sure that people can share their views in a forthright way with safety. You know, the left, and you're aware of this, I know, Senator, has threatened the summer of rage, right? And so, you know, when we've seen the left do their worst is, you know, across the country, you know, the rioting and in, you know, cities across our country where they burned businesses, burned minority businesses, but we can't allow that. We have to stand up to them, and we can never allow them to intimidate. You know, it is so bad that a few years ago, someone threatened me and my daughter with rape. And our reaction to that was, it doesn't matter what you say, we'll make sure we're safe, But, we took a screenshot and sent it to all their Facebook friends, including their wife and their brother-in-law. And we said, it doesn't matter what you say, we won't back down. But it is important to keep our staff safe, to keep our members safe, and Senator, for you to be safe. I mean, again, I know that you catch the same kind of threats, but we won't buckle under. We can't give them what they want ever.
I think you're so right about that. You have to stay on the playing field and keep pushing to make certain that our constitutional values and the rule of law are upheld. So what do you think should happen to these protesters that believe violence is the way to protest, not peaceful protest, but violence? What should happen to them?
Well, we've come so far, the civil rights movement, the peaceful protests of the civil rights movement, they did it right. Martin Luther King Jr. said, we must stand firm, and there was civil disobedience, and that's one thing, right? And I think there's a place for that. Frankly, there's a place when pro-lifers did sit-ins in front of abortion clinics at one point in our history, and really elevated that issue. That's one thing. It's another thing to destroy property, to threaten lives, to be violent and hurt people. There's nothing ever appropriate about that. You should never, in the name of civil discourse, hurt another human being, destroy property. That's not appropriate ever. And we're never going to defend it, right? If someone who says they're a conservative, that in the name of our values does something illegal, then okay, they're going to have to face the consequences of their behavior. We never dignify that. But unfortunately, the left, or Speaker Pelosi and others, have not disavowed this kind of behavior, the summer of rage that's been threatening, the behavior in front of these justices' homes. We haven't really seen them speak out like we're doing right now. And that's what I would like to see happen.
Yes. And what do you think has caused the left to take this turn to violence with their protest? Because it seems, as you're articulating some of the other occurrences, that it has become based in violence.
I don't know. If you don't respect the rule of law, then you can't point out wrong behavior. Think of Kenosha, Wisconsin. When that city burned, Jacob Blake's mother called that out, because she recognized that the rule of law and how that was not the way to make your point known, and a respectful way. Civil engagement works. And at Concerned Women for America, that's what we've been about now for 43 years.
Well, Penny, thank you so much for spending a couple of minutes with us on Unmuted. And where will our audience find you on social media?
Well, I am in Twitter jail, so I'm hoping Elon Musk will change that, because I dared to say Leah Thomas was a man. So I have had my account suspended, but they can follow Concerned Women for America on Twitter, on Facebook. I'm on Facebook, on Instagram. We're on most of those sources. But so right now I'm kind of set aside, but hoping I'll get a cake with a file in it from Elon Musk in the near future. But we'd love for people to follow us at Concerned Women for America and Young Women for America.
Yes, thank you for doing that. And our audience can find me at Marsha Blackburn, and I am now out of Facebook jail. I was put into Facebook jail for several days last week over a post daring to say I supported biological women and calling out biological men competing against biological women. So Penny, thank you for joining us, and keep up the good work. And
thank you, Senator. You too.
For joining us on Unmuted.